the Warlock Order Hall, the class Order Hall is going to be what we're talking about. I was most excited to see this because I didn't do any of the research in the last couple months about the Order Hall specifically. Now, I do want to do a small disclaimer before I do this. I went into this completely objective, not wanting to be like all wooed by the fact that I'm a warlock and love all things. With that being said, please understand that this is my opinion. If I upset or offend anybody, I don't know what else to tell you. So you know that some of this is not going to be great. The Order Hall is going to be... it's basically a rift in the Twisting Nether. So Dead Scar Rift is what it's called. Very reminiscent of the Twisting Nether and all of that stuff. I appreciated kind of where they took it. I appreciated that when you walk through, you have all your classic demons. You have your Black Harvest guys. You have all your, you see your classic demons in there. I was really disappointed though. I'm not gonna lie. I like the nods that they did, and I like that it did feel very Warlock in nature, but if I'm going to be 150% honest, it didn't feel like my type of Warlock situation. I'm really, really hoping that they're going to be tweaking and adding things, because all it did to me is look like a Burning Legion zone. That's kind of how I felt, and I wanted it to be more like a Warlock and less like... I don't really know what I was expecting in this scenario. I like all the NPCs that they put in there. I like the look of it there's portals. The portals are really, really nice because they're just kind of random. You get to see the abyssal. You get to see most of the Warlock and nature demons are kind of giant walking around your Order Hall. But I was really disappointed with the way that it looked. And I don't know if any of you that are watching now, or if you're catching this on YouTube or iTunes and you have Alpha and you've seen it, or if you've done the walkthrough, I want to know if I'm the only Warlock here that kind of feels a little bit disappointed in kind of the way that it looks. So that is my personal opinion. You do see the NPCs. They have the Warlock Trainer from Undercity, the Warlock Trainer from Stormwinds in there. You see a lot of Dread Rift NPCs, a lot of your Black Harvest guys walking around. Some of them are like summoning a bunch of little portals and stuff, which I'm assuming are going to be portals you're going to be able to use later, because the Order Hall I don't think is completed. They're still adding to it. But I liked that it was the Twisting Nether. I like the direction that they took it in. But I was extremely disappointed, to say the least, in that Order Hall specifically. Still nice, still awesome, but disappointed. Now, I know, Lycan, you were going to talk a little bit about the Warlock lore a little bit in detail, kind of minus Gul'dan, right? Because we talked a lot about Gul'dan.
Right, we've talked about Gul'dan. We've talked about how, he's such an integral character to the lore, but as I wrote it, actually this morning I completely got rid of the entire lore plan that I was doing and decided to go actually on the class itself. So, I said I could have gone with a single character, but instead I chose to pick why, in a world where we fight demons and such, would a class of spellcasters decide to use the same forces that are attacking us constantly. Now, the first incarnation of Warlocks that we saw was when Sargeras, well, we really didn't see it, but Sargeras corrupted the Eredar. Now, the Eredari were the original home of the Draenei. They were the inhabitants of a planet called Argus, where there's 3 leaders on the planet that had the best, most powerful connection to the arcane, which was Kil'jaeden, Archimonde, and Velen. All 3 were so close they were like brothers. Sargeras convinced Kil'jaeden and Archimonde to give up their power wielding in the arcane, and actually in place of that gave them fell magic and dominion over the demons. However, Velen had that prophetic vision, saw their civilization and enslavement, and took his followers in the Exodar, which is the Draenei starting zone, but it's also a huge ship. So, it's a big spaceship. And they fled Argus and eventually landed on a small little planet called Draenor. And it was found, this is where they set up home for the second time, and they were eventually found by the other 2 brothers of Archimonde and Kil'jaeden. Now, Kil'jaeden corrupted the orcs on Draenor and committed genocide on the Draenei. This caused all the elements to abandon the orcs and caused them to lose that connection with that shamanistic society they had. Kil'jaeden taught Gul'dan the ways of the Warlock. Gul'dan created the Shadow Council, which was to ensure that the stability of the Horde and their quest to destroy the Draenei. And now they're hell-bent on just destroying them. And originally, the Draenei and the orcs shared in trade. The orcs taught them shamanism. The Draenei helped them out with their technology. So there was a back and forth that was going on here. With that, though, when given the chance, the Shadow Council actually fed on the blood of Mannoroth and gave it to the Horde to enslave them just a little bit further and get them completely under control of the Burning Legion. This allowed the Horde to fall in line with all the plans the Sargeras had. They continued to fight the Draenei from the Black Temple up until Kil'jaeden just vanished for no reason and left the Horde to fall into pieces. Until Medivh contacted the Shadow Council and offered them to plunder Azeroth instead. Now we're coming back into Azeroth. There were already warlocks on Azeroth at that time, but when they saw the powers the orcs had, they started, following their ways. They wanted to gain that power that they had. When they would capture an orc warlock, they would torture them to reveal their secrets. This goes down in the deep parts of what a warlock really is. Now, why would the Denzians of Azeroth become warlocks? One word: power. The warlocks, both Horde and Alliance, are a necessary evil. No pun intended. And the leaders of both factions actually put up with them for that one reason. Although they align themselves with their respective factions, the warlocks serve only one master only, and that's themselves. This caused them to be despised by almost everyone on Azeroth, including other warlocks. They don't even trust their own kind. Other warlocks would have no problem torturing another warlock to learn his or her secrets before banishing their souls forever. I think this is why Belle doesn't like Affliction Locks, because they just don't get along. Some could even argue that Death Knights are not as hated as the warlocks. But that's up for a good argument that we're not going to get into here. But all that lies in the way of a warlock and their quest for power would easily be destroyed if necessary. We also have the original Azerothian warlocks as well. Now, they were the Highborn Elves, and they were taught by other forces invading during the War of the Ancients, which was over, 10,000 years ago. These elves are now the Satyr. That's that half-goat, half-demon-looking beasts. And they follow in the footsteps of Xavier's. Satyr, yeah. Satyr. However you say it. Now, Xavius will actually be in Legion when we see him. He'll be the last boss in the Darkheart Thicket. So we'll actually get to experience what his powers were. And some claim that he was a very, if not one of the most powerful warlocks that was out there. Even though these abominations were created and should have acted as a deterrent to people of Azeroth becoming warlocks, it did not. It actually had the exact opposite effect. The personal quest of a warlock is this: there will always be those that seek power, and there will always be demons waiting to offer them to them for a price. Which leads me to make this statement: those who follow the ways of the fell magic almost always lose a part of themselves in that venture. Whether it's an enslavement, whether it's some type of payment they have to make to that demon. Sacrifice, yeah. Those who don't, though, watch out. They're probably the most powerful ones out there. Which leads us to the Greenfire questline for the Warlocks in Cataclysm. Now, there were 6 Warlocks that were set out for the disasters of Cataclysm to gain even more power. And the only reason they joined together was to assure that the complete power was found. They wanted to get the power left behind from Illidan, Cho'Gall, Ragnaros, and even Deathwing. So they split into 3 pairs that set out looking for it. If any of them had killed their partner during this venture to take that power for their own, the other 4 would kill them on the spot when they all met back up again. There could be no backstabbing to steal the power for just themselves. These members were, Canrathad, he was a human. There was Ritson, Flamescow, the orc. Shinfel was a blood elf. Zinnin was a worgen. There's Zelfax, he was the gnome. And Jubeka, a Shadowbreaker, the undead. They were obviously successful since the Greenfire quest is part of the gameplay, and you actually learn a lot about this. And they were called the Council of the Black Harvest. The only one, though, that is not on the council right now is Caranthad Evanlock. He was the leader and the founder. However, he has gone mad and has been imprisoned, and that kind of brings us up into what we're going to deal with in Legion. Many of the Warlocks will be happy to know that we're not done with that Council of the Black Harvest. We will come across them with the artifact weapons, and I thought about giving those spoilers out, but because I love my soul and don't want it banished, I'm just going to go ahead and let it wait and see what's going to happen. It'll be very interesting. I've read the spoilers, I've seen the gameplay of the beginning of the artifact, and lots of surprises coming up with Legion. It'll be awesome.